Have you ever been so focused, so determined that the world mistook your silence for defeat? They whispered, "He gave up." They laughed, "She's done." But little did they know, in that silence, a storm was building. A storm of discipline, faith, and unshakable purpose. There's a moment in every dreamer's journey when silence becomes their greatest ally. The world may see your quiet as retreat, but in truth, it is the preparation before the rise. The power hidden in silence is not about muting your voice. It's about channeling it inward. It's about tuning out the noise of doubt, judgment, and distraction, and listening to the whisper that says, "Keep going." In a world obsessed with noise, likes, opinions, and endless validation, choosing silence is an act of strength. It's a declaration that you don't need applause to believe in your mission. When you're silent, you begin to hear what others can't. You hear your instincts. You hear your purpose. You start to move differently, not out of fear, but out of clarity. Every quiet morning, every unnoticed late night, every moment you choose focus over attention is a seed planted in the soil of greatness. People might not see it, but one day they'll see what grew from it. Silence sharpens you. It builds patience, precision, and power. It forces you to rely on inner conviction rather than external approval. And that's where true strength lies. Not in how loud you can be, but in how steady you remain when no one's watching. The ones who master silence are the ones who don't flinch when criticized, don't crumble when doubted, and don't rush to prove themselves to anyone. They understand that energy wasted on explanation is energy stolen from progress. When you hold your silence, you hold your control. You refuse to let the world dictate your rhythm. You become unpredictable, untouchable, and unshakable. Every second of quiet focus becomes a weapon in a world full of noise. The power hidden in silence is not passive, it's strategic. It's the calm before the breakthrough, the stillness before the impact. The world might mistake it for inactivity, but you know better. You're not being quiet because you've given up. You're being quiet because you're getting ready. And when you finally move, when your work speaks for itself, that silence that once seemed small will echo like thunder across everything that once tried to silence you. Doubt is one of the most powerful forces you'll ever face, but it doesn't have to be your enemy. It can be your greatest source of fuel if you learn to use it right. Every time someone doubts you, every time they say you can't, they hand you a spark, and what you do with that spark defines who you become. You can let it burn you, or you can let it ignite you. The difference lies in perspective. Doubt was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to test how deeply you believe in yourself when no one else does. When the world questions your ability, it gives you a chance to build resilience. It's easy to keep going when everyone believes in you. But when no one does, when the room falls silent, when the applause fades, when people walk away, that's when your real strength appears. The ones who make history aren't those who never face doubt. They're the ones who refuse to let it stop them. They turned every "you can't" into a quiet, unstoppable "watch me." Doubt sharpens your vision. It forces you to look deeper, plan smarter, and work harder. It teaches you not to rely on validation but on results. Because the truth is, people's opinions change like the wind. One day they'll doubt you, the next day they'll admire you. But you can't build your life on that. You build it on consistency, on showing up even when nobody's clapping. The next time someone questions your dream, don't argue back. Just smile. Let their disbelief remind you why you started. Let it remind you that your mission is bigger than their understanding. Because every doubt you face is really a mirror, reflecting how badly you want what you're chasing. If you give up, it wins. But if you keep moving, if you keep proving through action, doubt transforms into motivation. It becomes fuel for your fire, not water to put it out. In the end, doubt doesn't define you. Your response to it does. And the moment you stop fearing it, you start feeding on it. That's when you rise. Not to silence your doubters, but to remind yourself that every ounce of disbelief they gave you became the energy that pushed you beyond their limits. There will come a time when words simply aren't enough. When no amount of talking, explaining, or defending yourself can make people see what you see. That's when your actions have to take over. Because actions speak when words fall short. The world doesn't remember what you said about your dreams, It remembers what you did about them. You can make promises all day, but if your hands aren't building, if your feet aren't moving, then your voice will fade with the noise. Real change, real proof, comes from movement, not from speech. Every step you take, every hour you commit, every sacrifice you make tells the story that words never could. The late nights, the quiet mornings, the countless rejections, they're all pieces of a truth you can't explain to anyone. You don't owe the world explanations for your silence or your journey. You owe yourself the effort that turns belief into reality. People may not believe you at first, and that's fine. Let your consistency show them what conviction looks like. The most powerful statements are made without a single word. When you keep going after being told to stop, when you stay focused while they mock you, when you turn failure into another lesson, that's your response. That's your language. Every time you choose action over argument, you grow stronger because you're proving your point not through speech, but through transformation. There's something unshakable about a person who just works, who doesn't fight for attention, who doesn't seek validation, but just builds. The world can't argue with results. They might doubt you at the start, but when your actions begin to create change, when your results begin to shine, their words will fall silent. What you do in the dark will one day stand bright in the light. So don't waste your breath trying to make them understand your vision. Not everyone is meant to. Keep your head down, keep your hands moving, keep your focus sharp, because eventually your progress will speak for you. And when it does, it will say more than any speech ever could. Your journey, your growth, your actions, they are the loudest voice you'll ever have. In a world that constantly demands to be seen, choosing focus over validation is an act of courage. Everyone wants to be noticed, praised, acknowledged. But real progress rarely happens in the spotlight. It happens in the shadows, where the cameras aren't rolling, where no one's clapping, and where every bit of effort feels invisible. The greatest mistake you can make is chasing validation instead of mastery, because when your goal becomes their approval, your focus begins to fracture. You start working for attention instead of excellence. And that is where most dreams die, not from failure, but from distraction. Focus is a quiet force. It doesn't beg to be seen. It builds in silence and waits for the right moment to be revealed. When you train yourself to value progress more than praise, you begin to see clearly what really matters. The opinions, the noise, the trends, they all fade. What remains is your craft, your growth, and your vision. That's where real power lies. It's not in being admired. It's in being consistent. It's not in being followed. It's in being committed. Validation feels good for a moment, but focus builds something that lasts. Every time you stop to seek approval, you pause your own journey. But when you keep moving, even when nobody's watching, that's when momentum begins to build. The truth is, people's applause can lift you, but it can also trap you. Because once you start craving it, you start performing for it. And once you perform for it, you stop being authentic. The ones who truly rise are the ones who learn to walk alone. They stayed locked in when the world got loud. They didn't announce every move. They didn't explain every step. They just built, refined, and rose. They understood that validation is temporary, but focus creates legacy. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you're telling the world, I don't need your permission to keep going. So protect your focus. Guard it like something sacred. Don't let opinions steer your direction. Because when you stop chasing validation and start chasing vision, the noise disappears, and all that remains is the sound of progress echoing in your silence. The discipline of the quiet grind is what separates dreamers from doers. It's easy to talk about goals, to post about ambition, to make promises in front of others. But the real work happens when no one is watching, in those lonely hours when the world sleeps, and you're still moving, still building, still pushing forward. Discipline is not loud, it doesn't seek attention, and it doesn't need an audience. It's repetition. It's doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like doing it. It's the quiet commitment that turns ordinary people into unstoppable forces. The quiet grind doesn't ask for motivation every day because it's powered by something deeper. Purpose. Motivation fades, but discipline stays. It doesn't care if you're tired, uninspired, or unrecognized. It shows up anyway. Every day you practice discipline, you build a stronger version of yourself, one that doesn't rely on moods or emotions, but on the promise you made to your future. The world may not see your effort right now, but the results are accumulating beneath the surface, waiting for their moment to break through. This kind of discipline is not glamorous. It's waking up before sunrise when no one's expecting you to. It's saying no to distractions that everyone else calls fun. It's choosing progress over comfort, time and time again. People may not understand it. They might even call you obsessed. But what they don't see is that this quiet grind is the foundation of greatness. It's the sacrifice that success demands, the invisible labor behind every visible victory. When you live with discipline, you don't need to announce your effort. You don't need to convince anyone of your dedication. Your consistency becomes your proof. Your results become your response. The discipline of the quiet grind builds character in silence and reveals strength in the open. Every early morning, every late night, every moment of persistence is shaping something within you that can't be shaken by failure or doubt. So keep grinding quietly. Let them think you're inactive. Let them believe you've stopped. Because one day, when your moment arrives and the world finally sees what you were building, they'll realize your silence wasn't absence. It was discipline in motion. There's a kind of power that doesn't come from words or promises. It comes from proof. When you let success be the sound of your voice, you stop explaining, you stop convincing, and you start showing. You understand that the loudest statement you can ever make is the life you build. The most powerful response to doubt is achievement. Because in the end, results speak a language no critic can deny. You don't need to argue with those who don't believe in you. You just need to become undeniable. When you rise through your actions, you shift the energy completely. The same people who questioned you will have no choice but to listen, because success silences noise. It doesn't argue back, it simply exists, and that alone is enough. Every late night, every failure you overcame, every risk you took becomes a sentence in the story your results will tell. And when that story unfolds, it will echo louder than any defense you could have spoken. Letting success speak for you isn't arrogance, it's maturity. It's knowing that your time is better spent building than debating. The more you grow, the less you need to explain. The more you achieve, the quieter your confidence becomes. Because when you truly know what you're capable of, you no longer chase validation, you command respect through your results. But remember, success isn't just trophies and recognition. It's growth, peace, and mastery. It's the calm you earn after years of chaos. It's being proud of who you've become, even if no one else understands how hard it was to get there. Real success doesn't always make noise. Sometimes it just stands still and lets the world come to it. So keep your focus forward and your energy steady. Don't waste your breath explaining your vision to those who can't see beyond their own limits. Let your silence build your strength. Let your results carry your message. Because when your time comes, when everything you've worked for finally breaks through, your success will speak volumes. It will say everything you ever wanted to, not through words, but through proof. And that sound will be louder than every doubt that ever tried to quiet you.